Hi everyone, it's Rose Gold Library, and I'm super excited for you to see my video on how to survive as a commuter if you have your own car. I finally just graduated, and here are the tips and tricks that I wish I knew when I first started being a commuter. Going to college, I commuted by myself for the last 2.5 years. Well, for one semester essentially. I had a couple of people drive me up to school or do like Ubers, which I was thankful that I could do, or like do the bus, thankfully. So the first part that I want to say, this is for anyone that has a car. Also, apologies, there's construction around my area, so if you hear something about that. First off is to get deep cleaning your car. Like construction, there's dirt all over the place, and I did not realize how dirty my car is, even though I did name my car Dusty because it's always dusty outside because of all the pollen in the area. I choked on it slightly because I never really actually vacuumed or deep cleaned my car that well while I was in school. I didn't realize how dusty it got or how dirty it is, mainly because I drove all of my friends and I had small things like quarters in the back seat of the car, or I didn't realize there was actually a coffee spill, not coffee spill, but a little stain or something. And that was one of the things that I want to showcase. This is clean your car, but also have an emergency bag or bins or anything in the back. I actually got some of these stuff from the university itself. All these water bottles from events, as well as a really cool sleeping bag, but also a flashlight, and also some first aid. You never realize when you're gonna be raining in an area when it rains, and when it rains, you're gonna need a new change of clothes, or at the very least a new pair of socks because your sneakers got wet and you don't want wet sneakers and socks. So that was a humbling moment, I need to say. But also, it's just that clubs always have something. I know as a commuter, it feels kind of lonely being well, I don't live on campus. Is that you just need to see what's out there and see what's there's going on in an event. I've actually got pretty cool stuff. When I was studying and I saw, hey, there's some clubs that are just trying to get rid of some stuff. So I went in, I got a bunch of cool lemon stuff, which my aunt now has, but this water picture right here is now on my bed. So I now have a really cool lemony water picture, even though I do have a pink aesthetic, but you know what, just a new little ribbon. And sometimes these stuff you're I don't really need. Well, if you're in a major film and you need props, these are actually quite perfect. And I also just find these kind of really cool. You never know if you have something like that around. But also when it comes to studying as a commuter, I find myself gravitating towards the library or just finding a really cool study spot. As a commuter, you don't think that you'll actually be on campus a lot. One of my best recommendations is to actually explore your campus. I know a lot of my friends sometimes just go to class and then just leave. I live essentially on campus, even though I don't live on campus on the dorms. It's because I just go around, be lost, and then find myself oh wow, this is a cool thing. And also just because of that, you get to know your professors a little bit more. I managed to get one-on-ones with my professors, and since my professors know I commute, they're hey, do you want to do this at home instead of being on campus? And I was yes, I would love that. And once you build a relationship like that with some of your professors and staff, you get to not have privileges, but also just know that you get to be at home a little bit more, and it's nice. And even though sometimes your professor cancels, one of the best things that I recommend if there's food spots around is to see what is the food in the area. If you're local or not that local, I go to a cafe a lot with my friends that are just down the street, and I don't feel that awkward, mainly because there's a lot of food places around us, thankfully. We're in a downtown area, so there's always something to get, and sometimes you just don't want to get chicken nuggets from the university. And also, if there's an event, I recommend just go. It's really cool, and you get a little bit of sense of not not school pride essentially, but like you get to have fun with your friends late at night, or just figure out like, hey, some priorities take place over others. And that's one of the best things that I wanted to say, is that like sometimes you do need to be aware that it's hard to be a commuter and just plan your time. I know some people who unfortunately never really got to class on time because of traffic, and if you tell your professor, sometimes they're forgiving. Like, thankfully I had that experience. But also know that like you, if your friends are out of state, you are basically their tour guide. It's really fun to see them being like surprised at like the beach because they were in a landlocked state. But also, one of the best things that I want to say as a commuter is that you have the freedom of like able to go back and forth, while some students are like stuck on campus. And as a person that has the car, it was kind of like a freedom moment of me just being able to go. Well, thank you everyone, and I hope you all have a wonderful day. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Bye bye.